Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, happy Tuesday. Well, it's almost like Thursday, right? Because tomorrow will be our last day. We'll be getting out early. So please, 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 if you need to get your gold and silver, anything Texas related, get it done. We will be closed Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. And our youngest is coming back to town, so we're all excited. You got the Territorial Cup, for you U of A and ASU fans Friday. I can't remember the last time both teams were actually decent. So you got that to look forward to. We got college basketball going on, right? I'm sure we got football, right? We got the Lions and the Cowboys. I don't even know who all's playing in the NFL. That's sad. But you know what? When you live in Arizona and you're a Cardinal fan, by this time of the year, you're already done with football because we suck. And, already I'm talking about, well, gosh, if we could just lose the rest of our games, maybe we can get a top 5 pick. Here's the sad part. We're just not crappy enough. Of course, it doesn't matter. We always have a top 10 pick. It doesn't seem to matter. Yeah, so anyway, there's my sports wrap up for everybody. Some quick announcements. We're going to make a little change. For Arizona, I do have a couple of spots for the Monday night meeting in Chandler. Please call to reserve your spot. This next week, so Monday, Chandler, Monday evening. Patriot, we're having meetings here. They're booked. They're full. But we're going to make a change. For all of you in Arizona, we just want you to call and get on a list. Tell us which meeting you prefer, whether that's down in Chandler or in our offices. For those of you with special needs, you know who you are. By the way, we have a very rigorous screening policy for when you call to sign up for a meeting. We're going to ask you some questions, which will determine whether or not you're ready for the meeting, right? Some of you out there are still like, man, I don't know. I might be on Coinbase. I'm not sure. And what have you. I haven't even scanned my coins and stuff like that. So call. We're gonna create a list from here on out. And then we will notify you, hey, there's a meeting in Chandler next Monday. Do you want to go? And you can say, nah, I can't make that one. I'm busy. Okay, we'll try you for the next one. Or we have a meeting in Phoenix this day. Can you make it? Yes, great. We'll put you down. Some of you, like I said, will have special meetings. So anyway, call, get on the list so we can get this thing rocking and rolling. And of course, don't forget, great time to be talking to your friends and family because you know that it's going to come up, right? What have you been up to? Well, hey, I got this thing called Texit. Yeah, you may want to check it out. So having said all that, 800-951-0592. The website, allamericangold.com. We did get, now here's what's funny, is we can't get CPI. I don't know why, but nope, can't do that. Can't get you that. And we can't get a government's jobs number. Again, don't know why. Well, it was the shutdown. But we are able to get other stuff. You decide. So let's see. Where do we want to go first? Because we got a bunch of it. Let's start with private payroll. So this is actually not a government number. This is ADP decided, well, if the government can't do it, we can. And so they print out or I shouldn't say print out, they release what private companies have been doing as far as hiring and firing. Now, obviously, right now, companies should be hiring, right? I mean, you had the lead up to Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, and it's a rolling average, 4-week rolling average. So this is hiring that would have been done like in October. According to ADP today, private companies lost an average of 13,500 jobs over the past 4 weeks, which means the jobs data actually is getting a little worse, according to ADP. The last week when they put this out, it was like 11,000 jobs lost. Now it's up to 13,500. The next jobs report, by the way, is now scheduled for December 15th, and the CPI is scheduled for the 18th. Well, the rate cut is scheduled for December 10th. So, yeah, you can see what's going on here. By the way, ready for this? I'm going to give you guys a shocker. We're going to cut rates. We're going to cut rates in December. In case anybody was confused, that is what is going to happen when we get back. We had retail sales. We had the consumer price index. We also had consumer confidence. We're going to give you all of those when we return. Stay with us. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Tuesday. The Dow up 300. The S&P is flat, well, a little negative, but fractionally negative. The Nasdaq's down 120 points. The 10-year note, 4%. See? Told you they were going to cut rates. By the way, the Japanese yen not cooperating. The 10-year note in Japan now 1.8. As Jason, it just looks like we're getting ready for a currency problem in Japan. Again, there's no great. There's no great. I don't know what they even call it. Right? There's no easy button. There's no, hey, just do this, and the problem will be fixed. Oil's down on a peace deal that's, Ukraine's agreed to a deal that Russia won't agree to. So, call that a peace deal. I don't know. Gold, bet on a wild ride. Higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower. Right now, kind of flat. 41.30. So when you think about where we were yesterday, gold's a lot higher than yesterday. Remember, yesterday we were talking about 4,100. 41.30. Get ready. That's all I'm going to say about it. Silver right below $51 at $50.85 right now. So we get, like I said, we got a bunch of other data points out today. The biggest being the private payroll, saying that jobs are falling, right? The private sector is firing. Then we got retail sales. Retail sales kind of, it missed. Headline up 0.2%, much lower than the 0.4 that they were expecting. If you did not seasonally adjust it, why do they seasonally adjust it? I don't know. But anyway, they do. It actually fell month over month, excluding autos. It was up. Ex-autos and gas, it was pretty much barely up, only up a tenth. But gas got a little cheaper, at least for us in Arizona. So, Jason, kind of this control group up 1/10. That is what they use to calculate GDP. They were expecting 0.3. So kind of, I guess, the employer saying we're not hiring. Retail sales lower than expectations. The producer prices, it kind of came in on the number up. Core, producer prices headline up 0.3. The core, that was a little better than expected, only up 1/10. By the way, they were able to say that the producer prices headline number, Jason, 2.9, just like I thought it would be. But those were the big data points that the government put out today.
Well, let's. Yeah, I heard some guys talking yesterday. I was listening, and there's not going to be a rate cut in December. There's not going to be a rate cut. I'm like, well, look at the path we're on. It's. I don't know, Joe. To me, it seems like we're fastly moving in that direction. Everything you just said. Spend. It's about spending, Joe. I don't know what else to say. It's that's the only path. It's the only path, right, Joe? That's where we're headed. Gold and silver is going to price-wise is going to continue to do well if this were the direction, the trajectory that we're headed. Yeah,
and it just looks like. Listen, all of the data points we got today say, "Oh, look, see here you go. Yeah, gold's up." I figured it was going to be. By the way, I'm going to give you guys another gift. The MS62s and the MS63s and the MS64s. I'm giving you one last day. I shouldn't, but I'm gonna. $42.50 on a Mint State 63 St. Gaudens. $4,250. I mean, you got gold at pretty much $41.50. It's $100 over for a 63. By the way, if you want to go to a 64, $42.75. Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, whatever else, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, what else am I missing? Buddha Day, I don't know, LBGTQ, ABCD, Bald, Hairy, Fat Guy Day, whatever you want to call it, you're welcome. 800-951-0592. And again, I say this so many times. We already know what's going to happen. We do. They've told us. The one, whether you like Trump or not, doesn't matter. The one good thing that I think I like with Trump is we know exactly what's going to happen. Sometimes they a lot of these other administrations, they try to hide the truth, right? Try to make it sound like it's not as bad as it really is. Trump doesn't do that. He's flat out telling you, we're going to spend a lot of money. Period. Rates are coming down. I know. For the first time in history, they're going to spend a bunch of money that's not going to cause inflation. I don't know how, but that's what they say. And look at today. I just said 2.9. Boy, they were sweating. Oh, yes. We could do it. I mean, it's only 50% higher than what they said they wanted it to be, but it's okay because it's a mild 2.9. And the healthcare situation, Trump was ready to do what the Democrats wanted and subsidize again. The Republicans have pushed back. But, Jason, no matter what, I think we can just assume we're probably going to see another I don't know, $50 billion at a minimum that they're going to spend on top of the spending that they're already going to do for some version of a health care subsidy of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, and you said first time in history where they'd be spending with no inflation. I mean, if we're heading for a worldwide economic, crash, and he's going to print a bunch of money to save all his friends, which that happened. Joe, I'll keep going back to this. We did not have tons of inflation after the bank bailout. Gold and silver was ready for it. Gold went to 1900, silver went to 50, because those that watch these things, what makes complete sense is, here they go. They're going to bail out the banks, and it's going to be money coming everywhere. But the thing is the money was printed to save their friends. They saved the banks. They saved the governments. While everybody else was being fleeced across the planet, the money went to basically fill holes, right? If that's what Trump is doing, if Trump is getting ready to spend a bunch of money to save the privileged governments and banks and corporations, we won't have inflation. But that will mean everybody and everything around us is going to go into a 2008 housing crash mode where people are losing their houses, people losing their jobs, there's no money, you're not getting anything. So that's the two options that people have that are listening. You are going to get fleeced and robbed, and you'll have no recourse to improve your situation generally, while all the biggest entities across the planet get big fat wads of Federal Reserve notes. Or we're going to spend like crazy, and I think this is the most likely with what Joe just said about Trump, what the government's been doing. Spend. I mean, he's talking about giving people money. Anytime you talk about giving people money, we're going to get some people some money, some tax relief or tariff relief fund money, right, or whatever it's called. That is inflation. That is where we're headed. This looks like a spending frenzy, and I don't know how they're going to say that there's no inflation, Joe. I don't see how that's going to happen.
Tax cuts, right?
Gold
Tax
and
cuts
silver has already said
money.
inflation's coming. Gold and silver says inflation is coming, Joe. That's all there is to it.
How about this? The Treasury Secretary, boy, he's been real active. He was on CNBC saying that the president is going to make his decision to the next head of the Fed before Christmas. So it looks like after the meeting on December the 10th, the president is going to make some announcement, according to the Treasury Secretary, before the Christmas holiday, that he is going to name Jay Powell's replacement. Now, remember, Powell's supposed to serve until May 2026. So we'll see if is this a precursor maybe to run Jay Powell out, or try to force Jay Powell to continue to cut rates in the first quarter of 2026. All of that remains to be seen, but the path is clear. It's like Jason and I said. They want to make money cheaper, right? What does that mean? They're going to cut rates? They don't want to pay you any interest? They've already said that they got to do something in the money markets, right? Because, there's too much interest, right? We got to take it away. It's in trouble. We have the Treasury that knows that they need to increase the auction sizes, right? Remember, they've already said, listen, they've told us so much. Hey, we got to increase the auction size. We're letting you know ahead of time. Oh, by the way, the reverse repo facility is empty. The repo facility. Boy, I can't wait for next week. How big is it going to be? Don't be surprised if we hit a record for the dollar amount that banks need to borrow on the 31st to pay for all the stuff, because they don't have any. They have no cash, guys. They don't. And listen. Why is that important? Because that just means there's no wiggle room for any type of hiccup, Jason, any hiccup at all. Look at what's happening in Japan right now. They cannot even control their own bond market right now.
Right. There's a need for liquidity that is so great that there's a drying up of the market, and so yes, the repo market is somebody. There's some losers right now, right, Joe? There's some losers, and the winners are going to try to take advantage.
Regional banks, look out. If you're in a regional bank, I'd be a little nervous. That's all I'm going to say. The bigger banks, they're going to get a hall pass. Some of these regional banks are going to be in trouble. I would also say these middle banks. Maybe they're not quite regional, or they're small regional, or maybe just below that have a handful of really big depositors. It's going to be a problem. So again, we already know this. And listen, I don't give a crap what Jay Powell says or Scott Bessent says. Quantitative easing is going to get done. It's coming. So let's see, 2026, new head of the Fed, more rate cuts, quantitative easing, handing out money to people, right? This is the recipe that we know is coming, and this is why we keep saying the winner. 800-951-0592, the Great Gold Giveaway. That's what I'm going to refer to. Any gold bought below $10,000. Wait till I tell you what's going to happen next. By the way, right now, gold 41.45. I got MS 62, or I'm sorry, I keep saying I want it to be 62. MS 63 Saints. 42.50. I promise you, never, ever, ever in the 20 some odd years I've been doing this have we sold a Mint State 63 St. Gaudens anywhere remotely close to 2% over spot. It's never happened. Oh, if it'll ever happen again, I don't know. We'll see. How about a Mint State 64? I don't even have that on our website because it's way too much money. 42.75. If you said, well, hey, which one would you buy? I'd buy the 64 just because it's a 64, right? For the extra $25, I think it's worth it. At 800-951-0592. So I just went through this list, right? Here's all the reasons. This just the U.S. stuff. I'm not talking about Europe or Japan. Heck, I wasn't even talking about central banks and sovereign wealth funds. How about companies now creating their own strategic reserves, right? Well, this broke the other day. And it has to do with China and Societe Generale. They're a big European bank. They kind of pulled the curtain back and says that according to the math, and I always like math, right? Let's take the guessing out. And let's just do math. See, it's very easy to track. Well, I shouldn't say easy. That's the wrong word. It's not easy. But you can track gold purchases that get imported into countries. And then you can also track sales and things and kind of give yourself a good idea of what's happening. And just to give you an idea, guys, there's nowhere to go. Like, it's not like the Chinese, right? Call up some secret, I don't know, off illegal mining gold company and say, hey, guys, we want to buy 50 tons of gold. Heck, there's not even a place that they couldn't even buy a ton of gold illegally. It just can't. That's too much gold. Well, let me tell you what the reality is. According to the experts, and by the way, I think it's very timely and interesting. This is coming out as Tether, who has been very active in the gold markets, right? The central bank, I shouldn't say central bank, the cryptocurrency that's pegged to the dollar, and now a major player in the gold markets. All of a sudden, we're starting to find that the precious metals market may be in, well, let's just say, more supply shortages than what we were led to believe. Several analysts now reporting that something is amiss when it comes to Beijing. They are what appears to be acquiring much greater volumes of gold than it is publicly declaring, and that this additional demand, which has been going unreported, is acting as one of the biggest factors in the gold rally and the biggest gold rally yet to come in the next decade. They say the flows, right, this is the stuff that you can track, are very different than the official statements. Now, Jason, this isn't new, right? We've always said, hey, China's buying more than what they say. But what is new is now they're saying this amount is way worse than it used to be, right? So they're saying the problem is getting much, much worse. And that the investment bankers and everybody else now, it's so big that everybody needs to start paying attention, especially as China continues to reduce its dependency on the dollar. By the way, the latest now, China, remember China was the number one holder of U.S. debt? Jason, they're already down to third. And falling. I mean, China's literally trying to get out of the dollar as we speak, and it looks like they're using the gold market to do it.
Third. Wow. That's getting below Japan was not that big of a deal. Those two were having a lot of they held a lot of treasuries, but dipping down to number 3.
Below Britain. And by the way, it's a big drop, right? That Japan's still near $1 trillion. The Chinese they're below $700 billion and falling. They are literally trying to get to become a insequential player when it comes to the U.S. debt market.
Yeah, well, let's just watch that. Let's just watch that. In my mind, China will never sell all their U.S. debt. They will not do that. But there's a good case to be made that they want to drop a whole ton of it, right, Joe? They want to get nice and lean, right? Because you don't get into gold and silver as heavy as the world is, all these central banks, and be a big, huge, fat hog of holding way too much U.S. debt with what's getting ready to happen, right, Joe? So let's see. I think they're gonna. I think China likes to hold a lot of. What country doesn't like to hold U.S. debt? Hey, you need to pay us some money every month. Give us some money, right? So I think they like that. But you can't be way too heavy in any asset. You could be too heavy in gold. You could actually have too much gold, right?
Talking about being diversified. Okay, so I set the table. When we get back, just how much more gold are they buying? Man. Well, you know what? I think you will believe it. And you better be ready for it. That's coming up. 800-951-0592. If you want to preserve your wealth, because you know rates, at least rates that you're going to get paid for money in your bank or your money market, right? Those are going down a lot farther than I think people realize. Today truly is dumb, stupid pricing, but I'm happy to do it. Mint State, 63 cents, 4,250. Again, right now, spot gold, $4,100, $42, right? I mean, crazy. MS64 is 42.75 at 800-951-0592. Tomorrow we'll do a big Texit day to wrap up the week. So those of you that want a big Texit update tomorrow will be that day. Remember, for your Phoenix meetings, we're changing things. We have lists going now. If you want to attend one of the Phoenix meetings, Monday in Chandler still has a spot or two left. That is it. We have 3 meetings a week now. They're booked. Get on the list. Everybody get on the list, and then we will notify you for your meeting times. And then, of course, that will help, too. You can tell us a day that's better for you, stuff like that. But before the break, we are talking about China. How much gold are they really buying? Now, officially, they say they have 2,304 metric tons. It's about 8% of foreign reserves at the end of October. That would be the 6th largest sovereign gold reserve. However, nobody actually believes that. The Japanese believes the underreporting is significant, saying that they believe the Chinese have over 5,000 metric tons, which, by the way, would be the 2nd largest reserve in the world, behind the United States, which we say we have, over 8,000 metric tons. The People's Bank of China has been cutting its position in dollars and increasing its gold purchases, a reorganization of its reserve portfolios to be less dependent on U.S. currencies. Societe Generale, they literally just said, ready for this, that China is just leaving a zero off of every one of their monthly gold purchases. So lately, China's been saying, we added 2 tons. We added 3 tons. Societe Generale says, Jason, they're just leaving a zero off. Right? They're not buying 2 tons and 3 tons. They're buying 20 and 30 metric tons every single month. The French say that China has added more than 1,000 tons of its reserves in just the last 3 years alone. So essentially, the whole world is saying China's buying so much more gold than people ever realized, and they're just not telling it. But unless you're like, is it the ostrich that sticks his head in the sand?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what they're saying. If you want to stick your head in the sand and believe what you're telling you, you're absolutely crazy. And I only bring this up because the big move has yet to occur, and at a certain point, the truth is going to come out. And again, what is China going to do with all of this gold? And we talk about, remember I talked about gold revaluation and saying how, okay, 5 years ago, I would tell you guys are nuts. That's not on the table. This just reaffirms to me that I think the whole world believes that gold's going to be revalued and revalued to a number that most of us will be shocked at.
Yeah. I did hear Russia sold a little bit. Did you hear that, Joe? Russia.
Well, there's been a rumor that Russia has sold some gold to pay for their war effort. It hasn't hit in the official channels, but I would not be shocked. And if they did, I bet you I know who bought it, right?
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Right?
Well, and then on top of that, one fairly major country selling gold, in this case, I think would be a huge indication that gold is really, really valuable. Because, hey, if you want to continue on with your very expensive war, gold is the way that you're going to have to get it done. So it's becoming the way that you spend to get things done now. It's incredible what we're watching.
The IMF is going to sell more gold. I promise you that. There's another thing. Throw that on there. But, oh, my gosh, that's bad for gold. The IMF's going to sell. No, it's not. You know why? The IMF's going to have no problem selling any gold. None. Just like the last time. Remember the last time they sold it? What was it? India. Yeah, we'll just buy it all from you. Yeah. Listen, this thing runs a lot deeper. And I think Jason's right. Listen, China's not just going to sit there and get rid of dollars for no reason. And the United States just isn't very nice and uses the dollar as a weapon. That's not a good enough reason. There's a bigger reason at foot here. We'll be back after the 800-951-0592. We've got two lines open. We should have none open. MS 63 and 64 Saints. 63's 4,250. 64's 4,275. Essentially got gold at 4,150, so it's so close to spot. It's incredible. And then just kind of interesting that every significant, maybe not every significant country, but the majority of countries now coming out and saying, I guess, the quiet part out loud. That there's been a lot more gold buying going on and diversifying. Remember, this is a debasement trade. This is just simply diversification. As Jason was saying, hey, listen, they don't want to, sell all of their dollars, right? They don't want to sell all of them. Just most of them, right? I mean, if the number, the latest number we saw, China's gotten rid of 50% of their dollars. Now all of a sudden, the banks are like, well, if you really do the math, they put it into gold. They've got 5,000 metric tons of gold. That is way more. That's more than double what they said. I've never heard of anyone saying, oh, they're just leaving off a zero on their monthly gold purchases. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of gold that they're saying that they're buying. And again, and it's not because the United States is mean and, look at what they did to the Russians and all the, Jason, that causes you to diversify a little bit. This is a whole different scale here. This is about fiat debasement, and that's really what it's all about. Right.
And the reason that countries are going to continue to want to buy dollars is because the United States government that's the world reserve currency right now, and they pay their debts. So it's money that's going to get paid. However, gold has been so good, and it's been so good lately, that the return on the gold versus currencies is so big. The debasement of holding treasuries is not nearly, the percentages aren't good. And look, we're going to lower rates, who wants treasuries? Right, Joe? Who's going to want treasuries with the lower rates? They're going to hold the higher rate stuff that they might have bought the last couple of years, and everyone's going to dump the stuff from before and the stuff that's coming, right? Who's going to buy this stuff? That might be the biggest question, is who's going to buy this stuff with the lower rates, Joe? You know?
And remember, and I hate to bring it up, but earlier this week, I told you about Jeffrey Gundlach, right? The Bond King's comments when it came to the U.S. bond market and saying, hey, guys, don't be shocked if the United States in the next few years comes back and says, hey, I know we told you we were going to give you 5-6%. We're not going to anymore. We're going to have to give you less because we're broke. That's another huge factor. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back with the half-empty